Welcome to Disruptive Conversations. We're going to have a great show today, perfectly in time for all the holiday season, all the events that are happening, because we have a premier event planner with us who has an extraordinary story and is a businesswoman to emulate, to learn from. Thanks so much for coming on. Winning with Thyroid Disease, Steno 69, Attracting Products, Asabel, Carlos, Ghost Fade. Thanks so much for being here. Excuse my little cough. Might as well get this done now. Waiting for Alicia Shiro to come on. And Alicia has been written up in Forbes. She is so sought after and really is that person who brings a new skill set and level of excellence to the event space. Let's see, I'm not quite seeing her yet, but I'm sure she'll be here momentarily. And come on. We're looking for Aced It. Her company is Aced It Events, and there is a level of excellence that comes with Alicia. And certainly as the holidays are coming up, there's more that we're attending. It's the time to be festive and to be able to have some fun times together. Hello, Crispo Aura. And just waiting for Aced It Events to come on. I know that's going to happen. This is what happens with lives. And Alicia and I are going to have a really funny story to tell you. I know that we're meeting today at a different time. So for all of you who are coming on, thank you so much, as we needed to pivot. And that's what you need to do in life. So Disruptive Conversations is here to learn from the experiences of women who have needed to navigate and conquer all sorts of challenges. And today, as we have Alicia come on, not quite seeing her yet, we talk about the importance and the power of one. And so oftentimes as we start out, we may be starting out on our own and what that can look like. And hi, Chris. Thank you for following from Nairobi. How wonderful. Also, this is going to be a great conversation. And so if you know someone who should be on, who should be listening to this, please let them know. If you haven't followed me, please go ahead and follow me, as I'm dropping important information all the time that's really useful for you. And I don't want you to miss it, so make sure to follow me. I post videos and other kinds of information. Now Alicia, Aced It Events is here. Hi, Aced It Events. Thank you for coming on. And now I'm waiting for you to ask me to come on, to send me an invite for that so I can bring you on board. I see that you're here. Let me see if there's another way to get you on. Here, let me add you. Let me see if I add you, go live with Aced It Events. Okay. Come on this way. I see you here. I don't know if this is, here we go. Oh, and we are, okay. So fantastic. We are good to go. And so right now I'm going to introduce the show, and we're going to get going here. So everyone, welcome to Disruptive Conversations with entrepreneurs, thought leaders, innovators, influencers, authors, educators, in which we deep dive into the experiences these women have needed to navigate and conquer in order to achieve their personal and professional success up to this point in time. I'm Dr. Risa Reiger. I'm a clinical psychologist, and I'm an expert in change. I help people make positive change at any point. In order to make positive change, you need to disrupt. You need to disrupt a thought, a feeling, a belief, a habit, a behavior in order to create your 10.0 life. And that's what this series of conversations is all about. And today, I am delighted to have Alicia Shiro on with us, and I'm going to read her bio because there's so much on it. I cannot possibly remember. So she is the industry expert, not the industry expert in event production, planning, and management. Alicia specializes in one-of-a-kind corporate experiences, conferences, galas, and retreats. Her client roster includes A-list celebrities, rock stars, top athletes, celebrity chefs, and Fortune 500 companies across the globe. And now I'm here with her too. And she started her career in event production at one of the largest advertising agencies. And then she was recruited to help launch an event company startup. And then she went on to launch her own brand called Aced It Events and was featured in Forbes for growing her company to a multi-million-dollar enterprise as a solopreneur. She was featured in BizBash magazine's top 1,000 event professionals in the US. She has won so many awards. She's so recognized in her field. And in addition to being the superb and consummate professional in her area, Alicia also brings with her, which part of what makes her so extraordinarily special is the heart and the commitment and the level of excellence that she brings to each and every event that she does, including this one. And so without further ado, Alicia, thank you so much for being here and welcome.
Hi, Dr. Risa. How are you?
I'm good. So should we tell everybody kind of what happened last time?
Your travel torture?
Yes. So we were supposed to meet on Thursday. I was on a train that should have taken an hour to get there. 9 o'clock, I'm supposed to be there 10. 12:45, I pull into the station. And because I didn't want our time compromised whatsoever, and for us to have the best experience and to give you the best experience, Alicia was kind enough to move it to today. And so here we are now.
Better late than never. It's all good.
Absolutely. So first of all, Alicia, you know, in the bio, there's so much that I said about you, but is there something else that I didn't say that you would like us to know?
I think that's a very in-depth bio. I think the only thing that I would add outside of business is that I'm really dedicated to Make-A-Wish. And one of my passions, you know, where I spend a lot of time charity-wise, and I get nothing but joy from contributing to that, no matter how it is I'm contributing, whatever it is I'm doing or involved in. There's nothing better than doing something for someone else and, you know, with no expectation. You're just doing it because you want to help. That's when I feel my best, to be honest.
That says so much about not only who you are, but also what you bring into what you do. That when you're helping people, and whether it's helping them with an event of theirs, helping children who need that wish, and you help to support that there's a heartfulness and there's a personal integrity that you bring to what you do. So that being said, and I'm sure that will continue to thread through our conversation today. So Alicia, what is it that you needed to disrupt inside of yourself in order to create the personal and professional success that you have at this point?
That's a very good question. I think, you know, a lot of times we get in our own way. It's more about getting out of your head and just like taking action. So I think for me, it was really just fear. Am I ready to go out on my own? Am I ready to do this? What happens if I don't get clients? What happens if I don't close events and like make money right away? Like, you know, you have no safety net. There is no safety net. So I think getting out of your head and just sort of putting a plan in place and executing um, is essential to success.
So could you give us, if you could you give us one example or one strategy that you used to help? And because so many of us, the reason why I'm focusing on this is that so many of us do get stuck in our heads.
Yeah.
And so could you give us one tip about how you went from head to action, something that might have worked for you?
Yeah, I think for me, what really motivated me or drove me to really put it into action was I think this whole discontentment. When you're waking up every morning and dreading going to work or whatever it is that you're doing in your life that you just have pure dread, you know it's time to make a change. And sometimes we're forced to make those changes. And there was a lot of change going on at the company I was with previously. So I think that ultimately put things into motion without me even doing anything. It was kind of like there is no other choice. It's time to go. And then once you just accept that mentally, like I am making this change, and then you implement the next step and the next step and the next step. And initially, you know, people come to me with questions like, how did you get started? And the one thing that I would say to that is, you know, if you don't have a lot of money, that's always the question. How can I start a business if I don't have a lot of money? I didn't have a lot of money. It was credit card. I charged like immediately just to get everything done. I think I racked up like about 10 grand. And while you're in the process of going step by step by step, and you're, you know, in your head, you're like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. But then you just have to, again, it's all your thoughts, right? It's like, you just change what you're thinking. Yes, this is happening, but it will pay off. And again, you just keep moving forward. And sometimes we are pushed in a certain direction because maybe we're not taking that next step on our own. So for example, I always say to my friends, you're not somebody until you've been fired, right? So, you know, people get very nervous when they get fired. And in my experience, it's always turns out to be the best thing that could happen because sometimes you just won't make the move. So you're forced to make that move. And, you know, sometimes you're pushed in a direction and it ends up being the best thing that can happen.
I have never heard it quite put that way.
Yeah.
That being fired could be the best thing that could happen to you. And
Yep.
did you find that when you were fired that your thinking just expanded and your thinking about your own possibilities expanded?
Absolutely. I think for me, it was more about I just didn't want to be told what to do by people who didn't know what they were doing. So I think when you're at a level in your career where you know your business, and if someone is coming in and telling you something that just doesn't make any sense whatsoever, you know, it comes a point where you just have to let it go and you have to leave. You know, sometimes you want to go to HR and you want to complain or you want to, you know, HR is not really for the employee, in my opinion. So that's my personal perspective. They are there to support the company, and no one likes a complainer or a crier. So I think mentally you have to make a choice. Either I'm going to put up with this, however unfair it is, and I'm going to find a new way to get ahead and get to the position I want to be in, or you just kind of accept the fact that this is the way it is. This person is maybe a terrible person and you don't want to work for that person anymore. Then you have a choice. Stay and deal with it or leave. And that's kind of, you know, the way it goes. And then I always believe that everything is an opportunity. So whatever it is that you're either forced to do or you choose to do, it's an opportunity.
Okay. So there's a mindset. So I'm just going to I'm going to pull out and speak to our communities here, which is that the mindset of challenge being opportunity. And so when you're in the space of challenge, like when you get fired, that also is the space for opportunity. Okay. And so, when you went into the field of event planning, there are other event planners out there. And how did you identify, because solopreneur, and we'll talk about that some more also, how did you identify what it was about you that made you unique and that it was your sense, belief, and in fact, power that there would be reasons why people would come specifically to you? How did you identify that in you?
I think the most important thing is understanding your client. So when we have a new client, I really learn their business, like what makes them successful. So I think your goal as a service provider has to be to make that person look better. It's not about you and your event and what you want to do and how great you want it to be. It's not about you, it's about them. So what I do is I like to find out, a lot of my clients are promoted based on the success of their events because those events lead to pipeline sales. So how many sales do they get through that pipeline from this one event? They're rewarded based on that. They're promoted based on it. So it is extremely important that they are successful. So what I try to learn is what makes them successful. What do they need to happen? What's their goal? What are they trying to achieve? And that's what we focus on. It's not about, oh, we have this great venue we want to do an event at, or we have this. It's really what's going to be best for the client. And I think because we go that extra mile to learn and understand their business, it's a game changer. You can, you have to, it's like designing a house or you have to know your client. You have to know what they like. So we apply that same methodology as far as what we're pitching to clients. Does it make sense? Is this going to be something that brings them revenue? So when we pitch ideas, we're really focused on what the goal is for the client and what they're trying to achieve.
That's incredible. And it sounds like part of it is taking your ego out of it.
Correct. Mm-hmm. Yep. And it goes a long way because they see that right away that you're genuinely trying to do what's best for them. And then there's the caveat where we know what works and we know it doesn't work. So we also have to integrate our knowledge, and especially during the pandemic, which no one knew what was going to work. So it was kind of like they're asking for advice, but we don't have any because there's nothing to base it off of. Right. So it was just kind of like, let's just take the common sense approach. Let's not invest a fortune in technology until we know it works. So we used Zoom for all of our virtual events, and it was great. And then eventually we leveled up and we brought in full production and we did all of those sorts of things. But in the beginning, it was like there were some companies that were charging clients, $50,000 for production. I'm like, for what? Like, you could just sit in front of a computer and it will cost us nothing. So we tended to win a lot of business that way. And then we kind of upgraded. We would ship out certain cameras and stuff like that as things progressed in the right direction once we knew it was worth the investment. But I think it's teaching the clients and it's learning from the client. So it's a two-way street, but most importantly, listening and learning their business.
And really being a good listener.
Yes.
What are the keys to you? And that someone isn't a good listener, that's one piece of it. And also you're navigating this tightrope, it sounds like, of listening to the client and hearing what the client wants and wanting to support the client, and also bringing the client your expertise to be able to elevate that goal and really make that happen. When people may have a different idea about it, but you're also hearing them and being the expert and melding those two together to create something with real oomph.
Correct. Yeah, it is a tight walk. Yeah. Because a lot of times, they want what they want. But when you don't have the budget, you can't really pay for what you want. Then we have to come to another idea. So there's a lot of that. It's okay, I understand what you want, and that's going to be here. But based on your budget, this is what we can do. And I think a lot of times it's really managing the expectation from the very beginning. And because I've been doing this for so long, I'm kind of fortunate. I have the knowledge of what things are looking like cost-wise right off the bat. So I can tell them as soon as they tell me what the budget is that probably going to need to find more money, or listen, I think we could do this for a lot less if we do this. So there's a lot of that in the very early stages, which I think helps manage the expectation right off the bat so that no one's disappointed in any way, shape, or form. So there's a lot of that in the beginning.
And it seems that you have a lot of creativity and flexibility, and that you are that you don't get stuck into one vision of something.
Yeah, you have to go in with a lot of ideas. So we try not to get stuck in anything. We like to be challenged too. We're always looking for different, new and exciting. Like the first thing I hear from every client is what's new, like what's new that we can do. What's, the big thing right now is immersive experiences, integrating with artificial intelligence or just any kind of technology, anything that's new and immersive. So we're always looking into what's new. And that's very important in any business. You have to know what's going on. You have to have your pulse on everything. Because they're coming to you. If you don't know, then why are they coming to you? You always want to be adding value to the client. So you do have to spend time doing research. We do a lot of R&D. And whenever we're pitching clients, we go in with a lot of ideas, and then sometimes they don't like any of them. I'll never forget this one time I was pitching actually Google, and that's a company that's literally done everything. So every time you pitch them, they're kind of like, oh, we've done that. Oh, we did that. We did that. Blah, blah, blah. And then, so I was like in a meeting for like over an hour, and we're pitching all these ideas and nothing. It was just like, oh, we did that. Oh, what about exotic cars? Oh, we own those cars. What about this? So it was just like one thing after the next. And then I'm literally under the table texting my nephew who lives it was for their Boston office. And I'm like, what is the most interesting thing that you think we can do in Boston that would excite, a group of employees? And he's like, I don't know, catching lobsters. And I was like, oh my God. So I'm like, the art of lobstering. And everybody in the room was like, what? What's that? I was like, we rent a giant yacht. We get a captain. He's going to take you to the best places to catch the lobsters. He's going to, put on the slickers, going to show you how to catch the lobster. And they're all like, brilliant. Let's go. Done. I was like, first of all, I didn't know if we could even do that. And yeah, so we pitched the idea, but we figured it out and we made it happen. So, and it was a great event.
And I love that you contacted your nephew, because you never know where the idea is going to come from.
You never know. Yep.
What I'm hearing from you also, by the way, is that there is a solution. There is something to get to, and that you weren't deterred. You weren't deterred by them saying, been there, done that, yeah, yes, but, and you got to the space of yes.
Yeah. And that's not easy. It can be very challenging, and very draining. So I had my current employee, Ryan. I remember when she first started, you pitch a lot of ideas and they don't always come through. You don't always do that idea. And we'll spend sometimes months on an idea. And they'll just be like, nah, we're gonna, maybe we'll do it in a couple months, or maybe we'll do it down the road, but we'd rather do this. And you're like, okay, but I've been doing this for so long that it doesn't bother me anymore. And it's just kind of like, it's the nature of the beast, right? So I'm one of those believers that the time you put in will pay off eventually. So there may be times where they're like, no, 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 no. But because you're the one that keeps going back, you're the one that keeps pitching the idea, you're the one that keeps following up, when they finally do come back, they come to you.
So you're talking about also about building relationship.
Correct.
And at this point in time in life, that everybody wants something that happens right now.
Yeah.
If I'm making a phone call, I want to get the yes. If I'm pitching something, I want to hear sure thing. Where do I sign? And you're staying the course for longer term relationship. And that, again, one of the things I say is that not now doesn't mean not ever.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I think that's an important lesson, for everyone. You can't give up. I mean, that's the thing. You have to have a burning desire for success. And like, I like the challenges. I like the client that keeps saying no, no, no. Because eventually when they say yes, it's going to feel so good. And it's a win, and sometimes it just takes longer. But you have to have that burning desire to keep going. And, we can pitch ideas and then take a break from it and be like, okay, let's regroup. What are we going to pitch next? And then you just keep going at it until you find the idea that they like. And, it's not easy, but nothing is easy. So it's one of those things where you have to have a very strong, burning desire for success and to keep going.
And to keep that desire going.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't get to X and then you're coasting.
Right. Yeah. I don't think I've coasted this will be 8 years. Not once.
There is no coasting.
No coasting. Not once. I mean, and it's kind of like, there's this negativity around like being on a hamster wheel, right? Because you can't get off. But I think that's in any business. Like, in order to succeed and stay successful, you can't take your eye off the prize. I mean, you have to keep going and reinventing yourself and reinventing your company and coming up with new ideas and being flexible, ready to change, especially if that taught me anything during when we had the pandemic. I mean, we were a traditional event company, and then all of a sudden we were basically a technology company because we did a full 360 and went into virtual events, which was like full production. So, I mean, that was like building another company at the same time after I just built a company.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
Because you went into a pivot. But what is so important also about who you are is finding and continuing the stamina to keep up with it. I mean, it seems to me that this is like a marathon, that each time it's a marathon. This is a marathon.
Correct.
And
I mean, I think life is a marathon, right?
Yeah. It is. And that when you get to mile, whatever it is, that like that's where you're slogging along, and you have to dig deep in yourself to find that next gear, to find that little energy that's there to, connect in with that, to be able to keep going.
Yeah. And it's especially important this time of year. This time of year affects everyone differently. And in business, in the event business, this is like our Super Bowl. And our Super Bowl isn't just one day. It's like it starts in September and goes to the end of December. So the last quarter in the event world is like crazy town. I mean, you know, it is extremely busy. People are, it's very high sensitivity. So like you were saying earlier, everybody wants everything right now, now. And that's just how it is in this industry the last 3 months of the year. So I always joke around with my team and I'm like, we got to find the sixth gear, people. Just dig it in and switch it on, you know? And I think it's important the end of August, like I tell everyone, go find your happy place and stay there for a few days because when that's over, it's full on game time, full court press.
So I also want to let our communities know that we met because we were on a virtual panel together and connected. And thank you, Mario. Thank you, Jessica.
Yep.
And we saw each other at the event where you were speaking. I was supposed to be away and that couldn't happen, and connected up there. We looked at each other. We said, we're making this happen.
I'm so glad too.
Me too. So the importance also of getting curious about people and not thinking of, not necessarily thinking about networking,
Right.
but thinking about meeting people, being curious, and just kind of wondering, like, I wonder what this person is like, and that you get to experience some of what is really extraordinary in life, which is about a relationship.
Yeah. I mean, they're the most important thing. That's how I built my business, was on relationships. And it's interesting because I used to think that when a client left a company, I was like, oh no, now what? I have to like rebuild another relationship. Like, now what am I going to do? But then the craziest things started to happen. They would leave a company, go to another company, and bring me into that other company. So I couldn't wait for them to leave because it just gave me a whole new client base. I mean, like, and I've been with some clients through 5 or 6 different companies that they've gone to, which was, something I'd never even thought of would be possible. But a lot of my new clients were through those relationships of them bringing me in, introducing me to their new team. Then you meet 10 more people in this new company, and so on and so on and so on. And you build an entire network. But again, it's all genuine connections. Like, I don't reach out just because I'm looking for business. I reach out because, as you said, you're curious. You want to get to know this person. How can you help them? And I think, from there, it truly dictates how the relationship grows. When you come in it with a genuine want to help someone, and in return, not that you're expecting something in return, but it's a natural progression of like, okay, so how can we work together? So I think that is truly how you build relationships.
So I know this has been such a blink, and I've looked forward to seeing you here and having this time together. And so, Alicia, what is your next disruption?
This is a good question. My next disruption, I'm really interested, and this has nothing to do with what I'm currently doing. I just like to see where technology is going, and my latest obsession is affiliate marketing, which you see on Instagram all the time, where there's a specific group of individuals on Instagram or TikTok, whatever platform they choose to use, and they work with large brands as an affiliate marketer, and they're getting paid to do it. But they're getting paid quite a bit of money by promoting their products. So I find it just so intriguing because, I mean, there's kids today that are 15 that are doing this, making $10,000 a month. So I think in this day and age, there's little excuse for not having the means. If you have a phone, you have a multi-million-dollar company in your hand, because these 15-year-olds are figuring out how to do this, and they're making a fortune. It's not just one or two people. I see it all the time, because in the algorithm, once you like something, they funnel you all of it. So there's all these, I mean, they're literally 15, 20 years old. And it's not like they're doing it and they're not teaching people how to do it. Now they're having classes and making money teaching other people how to do it. But I commend them. You know, you're making this much money, now you're willing to help other people do what you just did. It's brilliant. And people can do this from their phone. I think it's amazing. So I think anyone has the opportunity to have $1 million company from their phone.
So the solopreneur, the solopreneur who exceeded 7 figures. When I did the video promoting this show, I said Alicia is going to show us the power of one, and never to underestimate the power of one. You embody it, you live it, you inspire it. I cannot thank you enough for coming on and for us to have this fabulous conversation. Our time has...
Thank you so much. This was wonderful. I hope everyone got something out of it.
They absolutely, there's no question about it. So let's take a moment and take our cover shot. So a little
fluff it up.
A little fluff it up. Okay. Listen, we are who why not? Oh, that's working. Yeah. Okay. One more.
Okay.
And before we end, I want to let people know that we did not coordinate our outfits to be so extraordinarily just workable together. I think it's like going from the inside out,
right.
That we do great together, and everything else goes along with it. Alicia, thank you so much. And don't forget, you can find Alicia on Aced It Events. If you want to know what's happening in the event world, what she's up to, Aced It Events. She's on Instagram. Don't miss it. And she is the top of the top.
Oh, so, thank you so much. And happy Thanksgiving to you and your family.
Thank you. And everyone, see you next time after Thanksgiving on Disruptive Conversations with Dr. Risa Reiger. Till then.
Bye, Dr. Risa.
Bye.